Urgent Vikings fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Vikings address Jordan Addison's uncertain future. With confident message, approaching the 2025 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings have seemingly had a quiet need at wide receiver. Jordan Addison is entering the third year of his rookie contract, but is facing a potential suspension from the NFL for a DUI charge in Los Angeles last summer. It was the second moving violation by the Vikings receiver in as many seasons in the league, but he's made it easy for fans to forget about it due to his performance. Addison has averaged 893 yards receiving and scored 19 touchdowns as a foundational piece to Minnesota's offense. It's safe to say Addison's absence will be felt if he misses time. However, Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell is not concerned and has high expectations for one receiver to step up next season. At the NFL owners' meetings last week, O'Connell said that he expects a massive year from third wide receiver Jalen Nailor, who O'Connell noted had filled in for Addison when he missed 2 games with an ankle injury last season. "I think we basically went through that last year with Jordan missing games," O'Connell said, per ESPN. "We essentially, for 2.5 games, didn't have him, and we were able to beat the San Francisco 49ers and the Houston Texans with Jalen. Nailor playing huge roles in those games, playing over 85 of snaps in those 2 games. Nailor caught 6 passes for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. He finished the year with 414 yards receiving and 6 touchdowns, but struggled to consistently produce as the third receiver. Nailor was held to 1 catch in 8 games last season. A 2021 6th-round pick, Nailor is entering the final year of his rookie contract. There is still a sound argument to draft a receiver in the middle rounds of the draft to not only replace Nailor in the short term, but potentially rise to replace Addison, whose contract expires after the 2026 season. The surging wide receiver market makes a tough case to resign either receiver. Addison's 5th-year option will be a minimum of $16 million a season and could jump to over $20 million if he makes the Pro Bowl next season. Nailor could also contend for a $10 million a year deal in free agency after Tutu Atwell did that this offseason. The surplus value of a rookie-scale wide receiver, a position the Vikings have a strong history of drafting well at, is immense and a worthwhile venture for Minnesota again. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Vikes news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks! Now let's get back to the news. Vikings urged to sign established playmaker after losing him to Raiders. The Minnesota Vikings reloaded their roster to the tune of $300 million, sunk into 14 new players acquired during free agency. Yet, there's still more work to be done. The Vikings have filled in the roster enough to take the best player available in the upcoming NFL Draft, but there are also the sleepers still sitting in free agency who would further reinforce the roster, including a ball-hawk cornerback who they targeted in the past. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, the Las Vegas Raiders released cornerback Jack Jones, whom Minnesota previously targeted on the waiver wire but lost out to the Raiders, who had higher priority. The Raiders are releasing CB Jack Jones, sources say, after Las Vegas attempted to trade him. An intriguing option for a CB-needy team. Pictuckus, Twitter. KCIN 500 Ian Rappaport Rap Sheet, April 6, 2025. A 2022 4th-round pick by the New England Patriots, Jones was a coveted playmaker and ball-hawk at USC, leading the Trojans with 4 interceptions as a sophomore back in 2017. His playmaking ability has followed him to the NFL. In his 3 seasons, Jones has had 7 interceptions. As a full-time starter last year, Jones picked off 3 passes and posted 16 passes defensed. Jones has the big play upside that's unreachable, but his coverage still needs work. He allowed a 115, 8 passer rating last season after posting sub-70, 0 passer ratings the previous 2 seasons as a rotational contributor. At 5'11", 188 pounds, Jones is slight at the position, but has the instinct required of a Brian Flores cornerback. In March, the Vikings signed Philadelphia Eagles cornerback Isaiah Rodgers, who relies on instinct and speed over his size and is adept at off-man and zone coverage. Jones fits that mold and could fill a similar role as a backup behind Byron Murphy Jr., Mickey Blackman, and Rodgers. Minnesota also signed former first-round pick Jeff Okudah, who projects more as a press corner in the NFL. ESPN draft expert selects versatile All-American for J.J. McCarthy. In latest mock draft, the Minnesota Vikings have limited options as they look to build the roster around young quarterback J.J. McCarthy. Minnesota was busy last year in the NFL draft. The team made 2 trades in the first round to pick McCarthy and edge rusher Dallas Turner. Those moves, along with others, have put the Vikings in a position to have only 4 picks in the draft. Without many options, the likelihood of the Vikings trading down is high. If they don't, who do they do with? ESPN NFL draft expert Mel Kiper Jr. has Minnesota adding youth to McCarthy's offensive line in his latest mock draft. Kiper has the Vikings selecting Ohio State guard Donovan Jackson, 24th overall. Minnesota signed guard Will Fries and center Ryan Kelly away from the Colts. It's a big improvement on the interior offensive line. Let's take it a step further. Jackson would replace Blake Brandel at the other guard spot, and he has the versatility to kick outside if needed. He did so this past season when Josh Simmons got hurt for Ohio State. That seems relevant given left tackle Christian Darrisaw is recovering from a left knee injury. Jackson is a plug-and-play interior blocker with great agility and technique. He allowed 4 sacks over 40 career starts. The Vikings do not have a second-round pick, but they could find a solid cornerback at the end of round 3. Jackson had a stellar college career with the Buckeyes. According to NFL Next Gen Stats, his score of 80 was the second highest for a guard. At the NFL Combine, he was a first-team All-American last year and made the All-Big Ten Conference team 3 consecutive years. The Vikings' last offensive lineman selected in the first round was Darrisaw, who has been their left tackle since 2021. Last year, they selected 2 offensive linemen in the draft: Walter Rouse in the 6th round and Michael Juergens in the 7th round. Minnesota must get younger and ensure the offensive line is solidified for McCarthy's future. Thanks to his versatility, Jackson gives them the perfect building block to throw him at tackle or guard. Shaq Griffin news could be another boost too. Vikings comp pick outlook Griffin just reportedly visited with the Seahawks, who drafted him back in 2017. What could that mean for Minnesota? Former Vikings cornerback Shaquille Griffin visited with the Seahawks on Monday, according to Fox Sports' Jordan Schultz. He began his career with Seattle back in 2017 and made a Pro Bowl in his 3rd season there. If Griffin does reunite with the Seahawks, what would that mean for Minnesota? On the field, it would mean officially losing a veteran who was a solid number 3 cornerback last season. More notably, it might lead to more good news for the Vikings' compensatory pick outlook, which has been a niche but relevant topic throughout this offseason. Right now, the Vikings are set to receive 2 comp picks in next year's draft, including a top 100 pick for Sam Darnold's departure. Those bonus selections are given out to teams who lose more qualifying unrestricted free agents than they signed the previous year, based on a somewhat complex formula. The possibility also exists of a 3rd comp pick coming the Vikings' way if Trent Sherfield hits some incentives with the Broncos, but that might be unlikely. Griffin could potentially provide a clearer path to a 3rd extra selection for Minnesota in 2026. If he signs with the Seahawks before this year's draft for at least $4 million or so, that should be enough to qualify him as a compensatory free agent CFA. Notably, Seattle doesn't have any real reason to wait until after the draft to sign Griffin. The Vikings won't be making any additions before the draft because they don't want to risk impacting the comp pick formula, but the Seahawks have signed 3 more CFAs, including Darnold, than they've lost, so they aren't in line for any comp picks. Griffin, who turns 30 this summer, had a solid 2024 season for the Vikings after signing a 1-year, $4.5 million deal. He played 572 defensive snaps in the regular season and also saw action in the first round of the playoffs. Griffin recorded 41 tackles, 6 passes defended, and 2 interceptions. His 64th 3 PFF grade ranked 54th out of 92 corners who played at least 500 snaps. As a result, one would imagine that the 8-year veteran would command at least a similar contract, 1 year, $45 million, on the market this offseason. There have been no real indications that the Vikings are looking to resign Griffin, who has also played for the Jaguars, Texans, and Panthers, or Stephon Gilmore. They resigned Byron Murphy Jr. last month and added Isaiah Rodgers, Taviere Thomas, and Jeff Okudah to a cornerback room that is getting Makey Blackman back from an ACL injury. They could still use more depth there, whether in the form of a free agent Jack Jones or a draft pick. Griffin Gilmore, Dalton Reisner, Jonathan Bullard, Brandon Powell, Cam Akers, and Jihad Ward are among the notable Vikings free agents who remain unsigned at this point. And now, Vikings fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Vikes. I'll be back any moment with more Vikings news. Skol, Vikings!